We are back. Another edition.
Dilly.
Week 3 is done. JJ98 all the way from the Big Apple on the other side. Dago from Dominican Republic producing. I'm over here in Philly. What's up, world? We here.
Yeah, so you know what this is?
Philly.
Yeah, no, not Philly. After 635 days, the Cleveland Browns have finally won a football game.
Oh, my gosh. If the
Now-
Cleveland Browns can win a football game, I can win this fantasy league.
Now, they won it on a Thursday, so their record for not having won a game on Sunday is still in effect. And we'll touch on that amongst other things this week. Welcome, everybody, to Week 4. And, yeah, this is going to be the first time that our fantasy teams are affected by bye weeks. So, you ready to get into it, Paki?
I'm ready, bro. Let's go.
All right. Well, before we move on, I just want to say happy birthday to Angel. Her birthday was
Dago, cue the happy birthday right now.
Happy birthday.
except I think we don't own the rights to that. Make
To
sure
the
you
happy
keep it
birthday
on.
song?
You got to
to the
keep it under a certain amount of seconds.
To the fucking happy birthday song? Are you serious?
Yeah. I believe that somebody owns the rights to it and you can't use it. But
Then every single school kid and employee in the world would be sued for singing it. I don't know.
you got to keep it under 45 seconds.
Man, fuck it.
Update on the pick'em. This week, both Paki and 98 went 5 and 5. So that brings the grand total to Paki 9, JJ 8. The awards. The highest score was Hunt for the Wilder Cup, scoring a whopping 144.02 points. The lowest score, and thank God for that, because that was me running for lowest score second week in a row. El Perro del Llano, what a way to make a debut in the League of Honor. 66.68 points. The biggest blowout is the Wilder Cup, Hunt for the Wilder Cup, over So Loyal. He won by 72.8.
Damn!
Over what happened with So Loyal last week, why they went so badly. Actually, I think that what happened is we split El Perro del Llano from So Loyal. Had we put both of the scores together, maybe they would have challenged. Not really. He would have still lost. The highest fantasy scorer this week was Matt Ryan of the Atlanta Falcons in a losing effort for his team. However, he is owned by the motherfucking Friend Zone. Scored a whopping 40.16 points. Led the way for Friend Zone's third victory in a row. Dude, am I living in the Twilight Zone? Motherfucking Friend Zone is 3-0. I don't think I've seen that since 2011, bro.
Who's motherfucking friend zone again? That's the chef. He's into cooking and shit now, man. He's like into some other shit, you know. But he is still doing what he got to do in fantasy. Everything except win.
What are you talking about? I just said he won 3 in a row.
Oh, I thought you said he was
You
0-3.
No, he's 3-0.
Oh man, you almost got me confused. I was like, what the fuck? Well, he's done everything except lose. Life is good for him. Yeah.
All he
Another
does
blooper.
is win, no matter
Yo.
what.
Jay, by the way, since you did mention the pick'em, I'm winning 9-5. I thought we'd actually read some of the comments. 9-8, right?
Yes.
Some people did leave comments on the past video for the suggestions of the bet, right? So we got Guica said, Mofo, I only misspelled one letter. Okay, that has nothing to do with the bet.
Thanks.
Donnie NG says, shave half of the beard, mustache, and rock it for a couple of days. Take pictures and upload it to social media.
So we would go Abe Lincoln.
Oh, shit. Joel Vasquez, I'm not even going to read that. Whatever.
Read it. What did it say?
I don't want to because it's Joel Vasquez. Screw that guy. Ali Vasquez says Super Bowl tickets. No, that's automatically that's a no.
I can't even afford LDFA tickets.
We're not gonna bet $5,000 tickets and $1,000 plane tickets for the fucking Super Bowl, bro. It's not happening.
Where's the Super Bowl this year? Is that Atlanta?
I'm not sure. Whatever the fuck it is, I'm not going. No.
I think
And
it's
Mr. Madbear, who I don't even know what that said loser tattoo.
Oh.
That's a little harsh.
We do henna tattoos.
Actually, I will say this, though. Joel Vasquez did have the best comment, in my opinion, out of them. It says, wear a T-shirt with the other guy's pick on it that says #1 lover. That was actually pretty interesting.
Interesting. It will be
Motherfucker,
considered.
motherfucker actually came up with a good idea. God, I hate that guy. Out of all the ones that are there in the comment section, that's actually the most appealing one. I'm disappointed that the other fuckers from this league didn't leave a comment as well.
There's still time.
Bitches. All right,
These are being considered, but there's still time. There was a trade that went through this week. We no longer veto trade, so any trade that's accepted is going to go through. There was a trade for Tyreek Cohen, which now goes to Team Blessum, who was looking to, I guess, fortify his running back core. And for Tyreek Cohen, he traded away Russell Wilson, who now goes to hunt for the Wilder Cup. What do you think, Paki? Is that the value of Russell Wilson these days? Tyreek Cohen, a backup running back for the Bears?
I mean, I like how they're using Tyreek Cohen, but I didn't like that trade, man. I think Russell Wilson, regardless of the issues with the offensive line, holds his value. He had it last season. And I think as the season progresses, we will see that. Big Ben is looking good, right, which is who Omar got to replace Russell Wilson in another trade. But I don't know how consistent Big Ben can go with this. And, you know, Big Ben is very injury prone. So at least with Russell Wilson, I know I have a QB that's going to give me 16 games. So let's see what happens.
Well, Blessum is currently 0-3, so I understand the wheeling and dealing. You know, sometimes there's a little bit of a panic to try to get something in there that works. But, yeah, right now he's stacking Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown. Still waiting for I don't know what the hell he's counting on there. Who's this Walton guy in Cincinnati? Really? Did you think he was going to take over for Joe Mixon? Nah.
Nah, I didn't expect that either.
I sincerely guess you needed him. I don't know. And if all goes to crap, he still has Alex Smith to fall back on. So I guess he just had an excess of quarterbacks there. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I said last week on the video that he was going to dump Alex Smith. I thought he would keep Russell Wilson. Well, he decided to keep Alex Smith. I don't 100% agree with it. It'd be good to check if at least maybe Big Ben and Russell Wilson have similar bye weeks. That'd be a possibility. I would have to check. But that's the only explanation because I don't get why you would prefer to keep Alex Smith over Russell Wilson.
Well, trade value. I mean, nobody was going to offer you anything for Alex Smith. Yeah, you can wait and pick him up on the wire if you want him. And someone was willing to offer him something for Russell Wilson. Now, I can think of other teams who might have wanted Russell Wilson more. And this is where I traditionally would have vetoed when I say, like, I don't know, I feel like the offer was kind of small. But that's not for me to decide anymore. The trade was accepted. Both teams are happy, and we're moving on.
Yeah.
So that's a little update from our fantasy league. Some major changes happened in real-life NFL that may affect the outcome of certain fantasy players. I want to mention in particular, Baker Mayfield came on when Tyrod Taylor left the game due to a feared concussion. He came in, he lit up the Jets, and now there's new life in Cleveland. And also, the Bud Light refrigerators were open, and everyone was treated to some Dilly. So Baker Mayfield starting this week. What do you think?
I think Baker Mayfield blew my freaking mind, bro. Like, I was really down on Baker Mayfield. I thought he was going to be something similar to Johnny Manziel, not just because of character, but because what I had seen in college. He depended a lot on scrambling. He held to the ball on too long. He was accurate, though, way more accurate than Johnny. But whenever I see a quarterback that doesn't let go of the ball, but Baker Mayfield was the complete opposite, man. And he just came in firing, bro. Like, he was letting the ball out quick. The ball had some zip on it, way more zip than what it had back in college. And I just loved what he was doing, man. All around, Baker Mayfield was pretty much close to perfect. 17 out of 23 was the final stat line that he had in completions. But 20 of those could have been completions instead of 17 because there was 3 clear drops. But, man, Baker Mayfield is impressive. I think he's a must-add because Cleveland has weapons. And if this guy keeps it up, he will be useful at some point during fantasy season, whether it's to cover a bye or if you're lackluster at quarterback, I think he can be a plug-and-play, man.
So Baker Mayfield isn't currently owned in the League of Haters. This is a 14-team league. There are two teams that are going to be on bye this week. And on top of that, we lost Jimmy Garoppolo for the rest of the year to an ACL injury. You're saying that Baker Mayfield should be rostered and should it be started immediately?
Yeah, not just Jimmy Garoppolo. We lost Tyrod Taylor to benching, and I have Tyrod Taylor, so I'm saying it right out of the bat. I put a waiver claim on Baker Mayfield. Hopefully I get him. And obviously I'm dropping Tyrod Taylor, no secret there. That'd be a perfect replacement for Tyrod Taylor. So yeah, he is a must-add in my opinion.
Okay. Arizona now with Buffalo getting a miraculous win, they still look like the worst team in the NFL. They decided to sit
I
Sam
disagree.
Bradford. Oh, okay. I'll give you a chance to justify that answer, but the point I was trying to make is they're starting Josh Rosen, and they've also announced that Josh Rosen is going to be the starter for Week 4. What do you think about Josh Rosen?
Pressure is on Josh Rosen, man, because all the other rookie quarterbacks are looking pretty good. So I think he was, in my opinion, he had the best college career out of all of them. Or what? Let me rephrase that. He looked like the better prospect out of all of the other guys. Sam Darnold and him were the ones that looked more pro-ready, running that UCLA pro offense. So let's see how it goes for him in Arizona. Hopefully this sparks the team because Sam Bradford was complete garbage, bro. Like he was just sucking the life out of that team and their money as well. So let's see what happens. I really liked what I saw from him in college, and I'm just hoping, man, that he can come through and do what he got to do, man. Even Josh Allen looked good in Buffalo. He surprised everybody. So yeah, so I don't. What I was gonna say, I don't think Arizona is the worst team in the NFL right now. If you want to know, I'll tell you. Tell me if you really want.
The Raiders.
You really want to know?
Go for it.
You really want to know?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yep. What's going on there? I mean, I actually want to touch. I wanted to touch on that about a couple of star quarterbacks that are underperforming. If you're owner of an Andrew Luck, a Tom Brady, a Derek Carr, do you look to one of these options? Maybe Mayfield, Rosen, or even Josh Allen, at least for fantasy. I mean, I'm not saying that Josh Allen is the answer in Buffalo, but for fantasy, if he can do anything similar to what he did last week, is he rosterable? Would you pick him up if you own an Andrew Luck like myself? And I'm starting to panic. I mean, he's not giving me the numbers I expected. A Tom Brady who looked just flat the last couple of games.
No, Tom Brady looked 40 the last couple of games.
Well, yeah. And Derek Carr, who I don't understand what the hell's happening there. Is it chemistry? Is it scheme? Is it what is it? What's going on with Derek Carr?
I mean, if you got to take a flyer on him, I mean, on Josh Allen, I would. I mean, why not? If you really need the quarterback. But I take Ryan Tannehill over him, who's also available in the league. I take Eli Manning over him, who's also available, who looked a little bit better. But, yeah, man, regarding the Raiders, bro, the Raiders, they just don't look good, bro. Derek Carr looks horrible. I mean, yeah, he's putting up, like, a lot of completions and shit with this dink-and-dunk offense, but he's got what I call happy feet, and he's seeing ghosts in the pocket. Ever since he got hurt, he clearly seems to be scared. And I do not trust quarterbacks with happy feet, bro. That is, in my opinion, for me personally, that is the number one sign of a bad quarterback. And Derek Carr right now is looking like a bad quarterback. Because you can't be afraid, bro. Especially in today's NFL that they're calling a roughing the passer if you go cuddle the guy. You go tickle the quarterback, you get a roughing the passer. I don't understand why any quarterback would be afraid in the pocket whatsoever. Derek Carr is one of them. So I'm not saying he's the only problem in the Raiders. The defense is garbage. They have no pass rush, so therefore they cannot close out any games. Guess what? They lost Khalil Mack, whatever. But they've been winning their 3 games up to the first half, and then in the second half they're getting blown out because they just can't. They have nothing to pressure the quarterback. They can't close out any games. It's sad. It's a horrible team right now. They're looking really bad.
It hasn't even been an issue of half. It's they're good enough for 3 quarters, and then they fall flat.
Yeah, and that's what it has to be. When teams start passing, bro, and start speeding up the up-tempo to get the ball going, they don't have anything to stop the quarterbacks, and that's what's happening. And not to mention that they were caught with their pants down and red panties on with those nice, pretty plays that the Dolphins did. I got to give a shout-out to the Dolphins. Those trick plays they ran were fucking impeccable, and they caught the Raiders off guard. Not to mention on defense, not only are they bad, they're also old. Reggie Nelson looks old and slow as fuck. I don't know if it was the heat in Miami, but even Carl Joseph, who's a young guy that was drafted a couple of years ago, looks slow as fuck. he should have gotten a safety on Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill outran him. A dude with a repaired ACL outran you, bro. Like, and you're a safety. That's horrible, man. The Raiders look really bad. I think they're the worst team. I thought it was the Bills. Clearly, the Bills are a different team with Josh Allen. So it's definitely the Raiders, man.
Ouch, man. Sorry. It's gonna be
I'm a fan, but I'm also a realist, bro. I'm a fan. I mean, we're probably gonna lose to the Cleveland Browns. I'm gonna watch with the expectation to win, but I gotta be real with myself. It's not looking good.
All right. Would you agree with me that we should make this the unofficial Patrick Mahomes podcast? I am 100% sold on this dude.
Oh my God. As a Raider fan, it kills me that this guy is so good and Derek Carr sucks so much. But as a fantasy owner, I have him. So it's kind of like a love-hate relationship. It's really hard. I'm a huge I'm in love with fantasy football. This is one of the best things, in my opinion, out of any sport that I follow. So I'm kind of getting like a little bit of a tender heart for him right now because that dude is balling right now, man. I mean, did you see that play that he did to escape out of the pocket twice and then just flinged it in the end zone? It's like just a little fling, and that ball's just like flying, dude. Another cannon that he threw to Tyreek Hill, man. This dude is super talented. This is proof that sometimes quarterbacks do benefit from sitting a year. And man, he looks great, bro.
Fantastic. I love it. I love the system. I love the guy. I love his confidence. Everything. I'm sold. I'm sold on Patrick Mahomes.
Yo,
I'm kicking myself for not having drafted this dude.
Out of 13 touchdowns that he's thrown, is it 13? 9 have been to different receivers, bro. Like that's like some. That hurts me just a little bit. I mean, if you own Patrick Mahomes, you're happy, right? You're getting all of the fantasy points.
Right. If you have one of the receivers, you're not too sure. Like that was my issue with Tyreek Hill. I understood that he had a relationship with Alex Smith. That he didn't necessarily catch all of the touchdowns because Alex Smith doesn't throw to wide receivers. But I knew kind of what to expect, and that's why I called it a gamble. He absolutely blew it out of the park week 1, but ever since then, he's just kind of been hanging in there, giving me steady points. But I expected. I don't know. I don't even know what I expected.
I mean, I as a fantasy owner, I think it's a good thing, bro, because he's getting everybody involved. So everybody in Kansas City right now has value. Even Sammy Watkins has shown to have some fantasy value right now. So I mean, you want. I know you as a Tyreek Hill owner want all the points for Tyreek Hill, but that's not right. So, but he's still feeding Tyreek Hill, and he's feeding everybody else. So that's impressive.
I think the rest of the way, if I can get at least one touchdown to Tyreek Hill, I'll be good. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. One touchdown, 80 yards. Good.
I think that's doable.
All right. So they're going to, like I mentioned before, we got bye weeks. Paki, can you explain to me why on earth is it that we start bye weeks with only 2 teams on bye to then later on go and have something like a 6-week or 16 bye week or something like that? What sense does that make?
I don't fucking know, bro. It's the NFL schedule making, and I don't have an answer for that, bro.
This happens every year, and why can't you just make it like 4 across the board that never have more than 4 teams on bye? What's the benefit of that?
Honestly, I can't answer that, bro. And I'm just as baffled as you are about it. If somebody does know the answer to that, you're welcome to leave it in the comment section. Please do it because, I mean, it's honestly something that we've discussed before. But I mean, the NFL, I think they just do it to fuck around with fantasy owners, bro. I mean, there's.
I know that Roger Goodell listens to this podcast. I want you to write on the comment section why the hell it is that we only have 2 teams on bye on week 4. And then come week 8, we have like 6 teams on bye.
Why you do this?
Right. Yeah, all right, cool. So I expected an answer. I guess I'm not getting one. All right, so we are ready to look into some of these matchups. What say you?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, first matchup we're going to be looking at is the 0-3 Big Blue Legendaros against the 2-1 Mr. Keko Jones. 0-3 obviously means that Big Blue has dropped 3 in a row. Mr. Keko Jones won his last game. He won against me, blew me out of the water. My team is in a total disarray right now. Do you have any hope for Big Blue Legendaros this week?
I mean, Man, they suck. Just like their trash talk, just like their hate towards LeBron James. This team is seriously lacking. Kirk Cousins didn't do anything for him last week. They got Odell Beckham. Then they got nothing consistent at wide receiver after that. They got Jordan Howard, but after that, they got nothing consistent at running back. So I'm not seeing much out of this team. I mean, God, for God's sakes, he's benching C.J. Anderson. Like, he's carrying C.J. Anderson on his team. That's just sad, you know? So, yeah, man, I don't really see any hope for this team. Like I said, I was expecting Odell Beckham to have a big week last week. I remember I mentioned that in the podcast. It wasn't the biggest week, but at least the Giants got a win, so this is going to feed them with some confidence. Let's see how they go moving forward, man. But I honestly do not like the shape-up of this team. This is a team that's shaping up to be kind of the hot garbage team of the fantasy league. And he recycles, so he knows what I'm talking about.
What can he possibly do this week? Who can he start that he hasn't already started to try to get an edge on Mr. Keko Jones?
Well, I recommend he'd go to the waiver wire. I wanted to talk about one of my waiver wire picks that I'm not going to pick him up, but I think somebody should. It's Dallas Goedert, the tight end for the Phillies, for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a rookie tight end, and as long as Alshon Jeffrey and Mike Williams and all these other receivers stay out, he's going to get playing time. So that's what happened last week. The Eagles ran double tight end sets in almost all their offensive snaps from what I saw, and that's why he balled out. So as long as these guys are still out, they're going to keep using two tight ends. Carson Wentz likes two tight ends, and they line them up as receivers. They don't just line them up inside the line like they do tight, like they do with like the Patriots do. They line them up a little bit wider, kind of like slot tight ends. So I like what they're doing with him. Maybe that guy would help him out a bit because, I mean, I don't like what he has at tight end either. This team is garbage. Jesus Christ.
All right, for a team that's garbage, you're talking about them way too much. Mr. Keko Jones. All right, let's take a look at what we got there. Mr. Keko Jones beat me last week. Even though Aaron Rodgers lost the game, Aaron Rodgers, he looked pretty Aaron Rodgers-like. He's projected to have 21 points. Of course, he's going up against Buffalo, so that should be an easy win and a bunch of points for Aaron Rodgers. This is why he tells his team to relax, because even after losing a game to a team in Washington that plays him really hard, now he gets a chance to just feast on Buffalo. John Brown continues to prove me wrong. This is an interesting call here. Antonio Callaway, you were really high on him last week, but I guess you were high on him considering that Josh Gordon was out of the way and it was going to be Tyrod Taylor. But it looks like when Baker Mayfield got in, he preferred to go to Jarvis Landry instead of Callaway. You still high on Callaway?
I'm still high on Callaway, bro. I'm still high. 10 targets. 10 targets. 10 targets last week, regardless. So the Jets are a tougher defense. He's going to be at Oakland. Oakland sucks. So don't be surprised if Callaway has a big play next week.
Okay. Alvin Kamara is going up against the New York Giants. The New York Giants, they go through these stretches, like through the first 5 games where they just don't know how to tackle. I don't know if everybody's like too much in their heads. They're worrying about these new tackling penalties. I don't know what the hell it is with the Giants, but they just don't know how to tackle anyone. So this would be a game where you'll start Alvin Kamara. You expect him to go off. Alvin Kamara is currently the #1 player in fantasy.
That guy's amazing.
Yeah, I had a chance to go Kamara. I went Saquon Barkley. I don't regret it. I mean, Saquon Barkley is
I should have taken him over Zeke. He's like Marshall Faulk 2.0, bro. I look at him as like looking at Marshall Faulk, bro. It's watching Marshall Faulk.
This will be – is this the game where oh, man, I forgot his name. The other running back comes back? Mark Ingram?
Mark Ingram, I think –
was he out for 4 weeks or was he 3?
Comes back week 5 because I think it's a 4-game suspension.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess this will be the last chance that we get to see Kamara all on his own. But when Ingram comes back, does he even matter?
I think I think Mark Ingram might go back to a secondary role or might even be traded. I wouldn't be surprised.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good one. So, yeah, I think just the strength of Rodgers and Kamara will get you by this week, just like they got you by on all the other weeks. You have Sterling Shepard on your team. Evan Ingram is going to be out for a couple of weeks, so you should see an uptick in some of the targets and catches for Sterling Shepard.
Hot take. This is going to be the biggest blowout of the week. And Big Blue Legendaries is going to get the award for the, what do you call it? The award for the lowest score?
This is just the award for the low score.
The hot garbage. We got to put a name on it, bro. The hot
All
garbage
right.
award.
This is why we have a comment section. Listen,
The
this
trash pick
podcast.
upper award. What are we going to call it?
The podcast is hosted by you and me, but in reality, it was created in the League of Haters, so it belongs to them. So I'll leave it up to them to name the award. What should be the name of the award for the lowest score of the week? What should be the highest score of the week? And I forgot to do the Chepa this week, but whatever. It was a week of blowout, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, we could call it the Darrow Award.
Damn!
By the way, obviously, I'm picking Keko Jones. I mean, obviously.
Obviously, yeah, that's two of us that are going Keko Jones on this one. All right, next matchup is Juju Jones at 2-1, going up against another 2-1 team, Hunt for the Wilder Cup. Hunt for the Wilder Cup coming off a sensational week where they scored 144 fantasy points. Juju Jones has won 2 in a row. Wilder Cup has won 2 in a row. So they both put their streak on the line in this one. Who do you think takes it?
Juju Jones did me dirty, man. Not only did he beat me like by 29 points, he didn't even put a flex, and he still killed me, bro. Yeah, so Juju Jones has a really good team. It's going to be interesting to see. Cam Newton is on a bye. He has Blake Bortles. I'm assuming he's probably going to go to the waiver wire. He's going to throw at some of those quarterbacks that we mentioned earlier in today's episode. But surprise, surprise, man. He has a lot of guys that are actually coming to work. Carlos Hyde is looking really good. Kerryon Johnson, first 100-yard receiver for the Detroit Lions since Reggie Bush. That's fucking embarrassing for that franchise.
Receiver?
Running back, I'm sorry. Running. I said receiver. I meant running back. Tyler Lockett seems to be like the only wide receiver in Seattle that actually is getting targets. Greg Kittle is a big question mark moving forward because Jimmy Garoppolo's out, so let's see what happens with him and C.J. Beathard, who is the backup quarterback. And, of course, Julio Jones. All the targets went to Calvin Ridley. Remember we talked about that last week, and I told you about Calvin Ridley? Well, look at that. He blew up. I think Julio Jones is still going to get his, but I just find it so awkward that Calvin Ridley was able to get 3 touchdowns in one game. And that's
minutes before kickoff in that Atlanta game, Dago actually writes to me. He says, who would I start, Ridley or Marquise Goodwin? I said, I'm leaning Ridley, even though everything in Yahoo was pointing in the direction of Marquise Goodwin. I just had a hunch, man, and shit, it paid off.
We said it was going to be a blowout. It was a dome game. And that's exactly what happened. And it was actually one of the coolest games of all of Sunday. But, yeah, Julio Jones, the only thing that concerns me, bro, I honestly think he's not going to get that many touchdowns. I mean, they don't use him in the end zone as much as they should. And clearly Calvin Ridley is a better target for Matt Ryan to go to the end zone. So that's my only concern. But still, it looks like a really good team. I know Hunt for the Wilder Cup is also looking good. You're going to talk about them in a bit. But I'm going to go with Juju Jones. Both of these teams are 2-1. Juju Jones takes this one, goes 3-1.
Dude, Hunt for the Wilder Cup. I don't see a weakness on this team. Tom Brady, Michael Thomas, Will Fuller V, or the fifth. Kareem Hunt. He picked up Giovanni Bernard last week. He won that lottery where everybody was chasing after him. Yeah. Then Geronimo Allison seems to find himself in the end zone just about every week now. So top to bottom, I don't see a weakness in this team. I'm glad, though, that Hunt for the Wilder Cup, took over this new leaf where they actually tell us who they're going to start. He was one of those players that used to hide all his players as well. I don't understand the benefit of that. What the hell are you guys doing?
You're so dumb.
Don't be surprised. I think there's a couple of players that he might move around. I mean, let's see.
Who the hell would you pick from the bench to put up there? Cooper Kupp, maybe?
I'd start Russell Wilson over Tom Brady, honestly.
Really?
I would.
No. Tom Brady's going against Miami at home, and he never loses to Miami.
It's in Miami. It's a divisional game. Divisional games, not whether win or lose.
No, but it's not in Miami. It says versus Miami.
I'm sorry, it's not in Miami. Divisional games tend to be tough. And I don't know, just Tom Brady hasn't looked as spunky as he normally does. So.
Are they going to lose 3 in a row?
I didn't say they're going to lose. We're talking about fantasy. We're talking about Tom Brady. I think Russell Wilson will get more points. That's what I'm saying.
He has weapons. Russell Wilson will have more points against Arizona. I mean, isn't that another divisional game?
Bro, Arizona sucks.
They do, but wouldn't they get up for a divisional game?
No, they suck. Miami does not suck. Miami's 3-0.
no longer. Yeah, it's 3-0. I don't know. No, I'm not sold. I'm still going Tom Brady there.
All right, man.
I do not foresee any situation where I would start Russell Wilson over Tom Brady.
I do. Me, right now, I would do it.
All right, so you're going Juju Jones on this one. I'm going to take Hunt for the Wilder Cup.
Sounds good.
All right.
That is a good
Next
team.
matchup is So Loyal at 1-2. Man, they've had some bad breaks in the last 2 games. They're riding a 2-game losing streak against the 0-3. Bless them. Speaking of bad breaks, they lost 3 in a row. So this is an impromptu rivalry week. This is who they wanted to face during rivalry week, but I don't know. I had a brain fart. I rescheduled it for no reason.
It's okay. I don't know if you noticed. I was gonna talk about that when we talked about my matchup, but I did name this a rivalry week as well. It says it on the banner because I'm also facing Joel Vasquez, that motherfucker. So we got 2 rivalries going this week. This is another edition of rivalry week. Let's fucking go, bro. By the way, I took myself out of the chat, not for anything bad. I just made a promise. I'm not getting back in the chat until the Raiders win a game. Making that clear.
FYI to Paki, I had no idea you had left the chat.
Dude, as soon as the game ended, bro, I just got out of the chat, bro.
Okay, you will not be missed. Tell me about So Loyal this week.
All right, man. So Loyal, you got AJ Green going to Atlanta. We already saw what happened with Michael Thomas. I mean, Michael Thomas has been burning everybody, though. Can we say that he's the number 1 receiver right now, not just in fantasy? Can we say he's better than Antonio Brown? I mean, remember the target thing?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Best receiver in football, I tend to agree.
Dude,
I mean,
at least this season. The guy hasn't dropped any targets. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, AJ Green.
I don't know that I've been necessarily sold on Antonio Brown the last couple of years. That thing that he said about, trade me and find out. I'm curious because whenever, Big Ben is injured and someone else is throwing to him, he doesn't look like Antonio Brown.
Right. No, I agree. But he does have a couple of good plays once the ball is in his hands, so we can't discredit him. But yeah, AJ Green, man, I think is going to be his best bet on this matchup for So Loyal because it's at Atlanta, as I was saying. Frank Gore, Miami, I just don't see him as a consistent fantasy running back. Between him and Kenyon Drake, they're just a big pile of nothing. And I have Kenyon Drake, so I'm not convinced for them to do anything. That's a huge committee, and I don't like it at all. So weak at running back. I don't know about Rex Burkhead. I'm not really sure about him. So, yeah, man, Phillip Rivers might be another guy that might give him some points versus San Francisco, a disheartened San Francisco after the loss of Jimmy Garoppolo. Phillip Rivers has actually been pretty good in fantasy. But if I compare these teams, bro, I just don't think So Loyal is going to win, man. I'm very sorry. I just see too many holes in this team, too many inconsistencies for me to pick him to win. I'm not saying it's impossible. I just like to go with the sure things. So.
And the sure thing is the 0-3. Bless him. Are you out of your mind?
Well,
look at that. Look at the other team. I mean, for as many holes as you may find in So Loyal, and I'm sorry, I keep picking him and I keep losing, but Roethlisberger, Brown, and after that, what do you got? Landry. Who the hell is this M. Walton? By the time the kickoff, it'll probably be Tariq Cohen, but Tariq Cohen is a backup. Duke Johnson Jr., a backup who's practically irrelevant in that team. And who knows what the hell you can expect from him now that there's a totally different quarterback. Jordan Reed, he's on a bye week. He's kind of the bright light on that team, but on a bye. Sammy Watkins, okay, he'll get his points, but he's going up against Denver for whatever the hell that's worth.
Well, here's the kicker.
On this team is not spectacular. I don't see it blowing anything out of the water. I don't see.
Hold on, let me tell you.
The kicker, that's Elliott from Philadelphia.
No, what I mean, the kicker on why I think they're going to be outstanding. You got Jarvis Landry and Johnson Jr. versus Oakland. Jarvis Landry's going to cook the Raiders, bro. And Johnson Jr., we already saw what Albert Wilson and gadget players do to the Raiders. Johnson Jr. might actually have a good game. That's what I think. So I have no faith in the Raiders defense, bro. So I like those players and their matchups more than the guys on So Loyal's side. So I'm sorry.
Bro, you're crazy.
That's what I'm thinking.
Just off the strength of Phillip Rivers, DeAndre Hopkins, and AJ Green, I think it's enough.
Wow.
So Loyal, find something to put in place of Burkhead. I don't know who Paki's recommending off the waiver wire in terms of fantasy running backs, but put anyone in there instead of a Burkhead, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, don't discredit Sammy Watkins, bro. Sammy Watkins is looking good in that offense.
Dude, get the hell out of here. Sammy Watkins on his own is not beating So Loyal.
Well, not on his own. We already talked about the Cleveland guys that are facing the Raiders. Antonio Brown.
Cleveland, get out of here. So I guess you're going with Blessing. That's 0-3.
I'm going with Blessing. I'm going with Blessing.
All right. Paki's going Blessing him. I'm going So Loyal. All right. Next matchup, the 2-1 Fuba, riding a 1-game winning streak, is going up against the 3-0 Gin and Druce, looking like the best team in fantasy this year. Fuba, what you got for me?
Yo, Drew Brees, man. Shit, Drew Brees looked good last week. I know I'm not supposed to talk about him, but I just had to mention, Jesus, man, Drew Brees. You know, in another fantasy, in my work fantasy, I got Drew Brees and Pat Mahomes, and I started Pat Mahomes this week. Luckily, I still won, but damn, that one hurt. But yeah, man, Rob Gronkowski, man. I wonder when
How the hell did you land both of them? Is that a 10-team league?
It is a 10-team league, yes. And Pat Mahomes, nobody drafted him, so I actually picked him off of waiver right up before the first game. It is a 10-team league.
I imagine you going around and telling people to join this fantasy league, and people are like, "What the hell is that?"
Well, they actually
How the hell did
invited
you land Drew Brees and Pat Mahomes?
They actually invited me, thinking they were going to take advantage of the Dominican, right? That probably doesn't.
Oh my God! This is when you need to go around and give them business cards from the unofficial commentators. Show them what you're talking about.
Yo, so man, yeah, talking
you have a little
about
fantasy trophy. Put that shit on your desk.
Hold on.
What do you mean, hold on? What am I doing here? Filling time? Yeah. Well, why isn't that on your desk when they go over and ask you to play fantasy?
I don't know, man, but it should be on my desk. I am the champion. This trophy, I actually got it in the Fantasy Football League of Pio Deportes, which is a sports program, a sports radio show, a big sports radio show
cares.
that I was with. So this is
Oh my God! Who the hell
guys that get paid for this shit.
Oh my God!
All right. So, anyways, back to
I can't tell you how little I care.
Bro, stop taking me off topic.
You're the one who went out and looked for a trophy that nobody cares about.
You talked about the trophy.
I didn't tell you to go get it. Show off. All right, go ahead. Tell me about Cuba.
Yo, Rob Gronkowski, man, when is he coming back? I mean, you think he's 100% dependent on Tom Brady? I mean, obviously, Tom Brady's the one throwing, but, geez, man, I don't know. I feel like as Tom Brady goes, he goes. So right now, I don't know what they're going to do. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're going to be good or not, but at least you got Robert Woods on one side. That guy and everybody, the Rams and the Chiefs, man, but everybody in their offense is good and useful. But I think the problem here with this team is Christian McCaffrey's on a bye week. And I think Christian McCaffrey is the best player on this team, in my opinion. So that is going to cost them a bit. Therefore, having that bye week right now might cause Gary the win versus an undefeated team. So I'm going to go with Gin and Druce.
Don't underestimate Sony Michel. No Rex Burkhead. That means Sony Michel gets all of the run over in New England. All right, Gin and Druce. Why are they so good? Well, for starters, Drew Brees. Adam Thielen still doing Adam Thielen things. I have no faith in Pierre Garçon, but it doesn't matter because you make up for that with the magic of Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, though, has a tough matchup this week. He's going up against Minnesota. So all of those guys that you mentioned there, the Jared Goff, Robert Woods, everyone who Fuba has that plays for the Rams, while you do expect the Rams to be fantastic, they're going up against a Minnesota team that got embarrassed last week, and they're looking to get their name back. So expect that defense to be tough. All things considered, man, ride the hot hand. I'm going to go with Gin and Druce.
I guess we both agree on that one.
Yes, we do. I wouldn't do anything different than what Donnie's already doing. It doesn't seem like any bye weeks are really affecting him. He owns Mark Ingram, and Mark Ingram is still listed as suspended. So this is not the week he comes back. Yeah, that being said, that's pretty much what we got. We just got to hold out and see what happens in this matchup. But we're both going with Gin and Druce. The 2-1, winner of 2 in a row, Gotham City Rogues is going up against another undefeated team, the 3-0 motherfucking Friend Zone, of course, putting up their winning streak. I like the Gotham City Rogues. They have a knack for striking at the opportune time. Why would they win this week?
Well, I mean, you're putting words in my mouth right now because I don't think they will win. I'm looking at motherfucking Friend Zone, man, and they're pretty well stacked. But if we're gonna talk about what might give Gotham City Rogues a chance, I always mention it because I respect it. Two-time, if I'm not mistaken, two-time fantasy football champion of the League of Haters, Gotham City Rogues. At least they got Calvin Ridley, man. Calvin Ridley looked really good. Let's see what happens with him. But Melvin Gordon is a fantasy machine. I think Melvin Gordon has been underappreciated for the last 2 fantasy years in the drafts. Everybody has him like a second-round type running back for the draft. I think he should have been a first-rounder. Like, and I mean like early. What?
He was. He's number 9.
Yeah, but I mean like early first.
I agree he should have been higher, but there's an insistence on putting in wide receivers like Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham ahead of him. But you take out those 2 names, he probably would have been the 7th overall pick.
No, and this guy's just the usage, and he receives, and there is no – I know they got Austin Eckler or whatever, but he's still in the number 1 target when it comes to passing situations. Eckler's just there for him to catch a breather. You know what I mean? So Melvin Gordon, to me, is one of the most consistent and reliable fantasy players. I love the way they use him. Zach Ertz with Carson Wentz back is money, bro. It's money. So we already saw that both Goddard and Zach Ertz looking good with Carson Wentz, and I already talked about the 2 tight end situation that they're doing in Philly, which will benefit him as well. So these are the players that, in my opinion, kind of catch my attention. I'm not a fan of Andy Dalton. I know it might be a shootout in Atlanta at the Dome, but Andy Dalton is just so inconsistent, man. The games that he's supposed to be good, he's bad. The games that he's supposed to be bad, he's good. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to believe with Andy Dalton. So no, I'm just gonna stick to those players that I mentioned. I think those are the guys that might actually do something this week.
Okay, well, Matt Ryan, I don't believe that he'll have the same performance that he had against New Orleans, but this is another team that hungry for that win. As it stands, they're 1-2, so they're going to be shooting. They still don't have Devontae Freeman back, so they're not relying as heavily on the running game. It's all pass. Stephon Diggs, a stud going up against the LA Rams. He might feel the wrath of Aqib Talib, but I'm not so worried about it. Stephon Diggs will get his. Allen Robinson, the second best receiver against a defense in Tampa Bay who gives up points. So, yeah, for all the points that they score, they do give a lot of fantasy points up. So not totally concerned there. This is who you need to consider when you're talking about friend zone and whether or not they're going to win week to week. It's going to be David Johnson. David Johnson looked reinvigorated last week, caught a pass, scored a touchdown. First time he gets in the end zone this year. It was due. It was about time. He's still not getting the massive workload, but I don't understand. I don't understand what kind of quarterback Sam Bradford is. So that's my only concern really is that
the kind of quarterback that takes your money.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Fitzgerald still isn't 100%. I don't really know any of the receivers over in Arizona, so they should still heavily rely on David Johnson. Let's just see. I mean, it isn't one of the best friends of a rookie quarterback, the running back, and they also say the tight end, but I expect him to blow up. Now, this matchup in particular hinges on the performance of David Johnson. And if I may, just a little note on the Gotham City Rogues. It feels like just about everybody scored a touchdown or multiple touchdowns last week. I don't think that performance is repeatable. To have Gordon and Crowell and Ridley all go off like they did last week again this week, I don't think it's repeatable. And even though Gotham City Rogues consistently puts up points, I don't think it'll be enough points to topple the friend zone. So what do you think, Paki? Who you picking to win this one?
No, man, I already said it, bro. I think I'm gonna go with motherfucking friend zone, bro. Their team looks better.
Friend zone is gonna go 4-0.
I think so. Can you imagine if that guy wins the fantasy league? How much he's gonna talk?
Unfreaking believable.
It
You know
actually
what?
might be fun.
I wouldn't even be that mad.
Yeah, it actually might be fun.
You know, some of the names that I'm seeing here that have a substantial kind of lead in fantasy. Mr. Keko Jones. Um, I talked to Dilly. I told him that he should name his team something else. I won't spoil the surprise, but change that name. Donnie is 3-0. I feel like Donnie usually plays but never makes a significant impact. If he wins, I wouldn't be mad. Motherfucking friend zone. You know, like I said, man, it's been 7 years since I've seen him have this good of a start. So yeah, that's new faces at the top. I'm happy to see it. Let's see what happens when bye weeks start coming around and players start getting injured. All right, next matchup is my team, the Luck Dynasty, currently riding a cold streak. Lost 2 in a row at 1-2. But I'm looking at revindication now, playing against the 0-3 El Perro del Llano, who has lost 3 in a row. Not all of them were his fault. Only the last one was the one where he's been managing this team. It is worth pointing out that El Perro del Llano has the #1 waiver priority this week. Who's the #1 waiver guy, Paki?
Who's the #1 waiver guy? Well, right now, according to Yahoo, it's Vance McDonald, the tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a tight end kind of needy league. And I don't know, this year there's not as many valuable tight ends as there's been before. So I would understand that. But like I said, I think after that is Chris Ivory as well. A lot of people are adding him. But in my opinion, it's Baker Mayfield, man. That's the one that I'm aiming for.
Okay. Pedro de Llano is pretty good, though, at quarterback. I don't think he needs to stack more of that.
He might be trying to get Vance McDonald. I mean, did you see that stiff arm?
You got knocked the fuck out, man!
If only Stiff Arm gave you points in fantasy, that'd be fantastic.
Holy shit. Chris Conte is out on IR for the rest of the season. I don't know if you saw a post. It said he's out of IR, I think, because of a hamstring injury and because of humiliation. He lost. Vance McDonald took his heart.
Yeah, stiff armed it straight out of his chest.
Yo. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Guica, and his team is lacking a little bit at tight end, so that might be what he's looking for. But I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Luck Dynasty, which is your team, real quick, since you can't talk about your own team, obviously. Jesse James, bro. I mean, if I'm you, I try to get Vance McDonald. I think Jesse James was getting the targets because Vance McDonald was out. Vance McDonald is back in. I do not think the Steelers are a 2 tight end type team, so they're going to be kind of competing for touches here, and Vance McDonald is higher on the depth chart. So that's something worth considering for you. Again, anything can happen, but that's just how the things are looking right now. I love Saquon Barkley, dude. I'm going to tell you this right now, and I think Saquon Barkley, however you say it, is way better than Zeke Elliott, bro.
I've never heard Saquon. What are you talking about? Saquon.
I don't know, Saquon, well, whatever. He is better than Zeke Elliott, not just as a fantasy back, but as a real back. This guy is making something out of nothing in every play.
That take is hot.
Dude, I mean, I was watching the Giant game because I was together with some friends in New Jersey. They're all Giant fans. So I was watching in one screen, we're watching the Giant games, and I'm the only Raider fan watching the Raiders on another screen. And I'm watching this guy, and I'm watching the Raiders both at the same time. I'm like, dude, Saquon Barkley is Marshawn Lynch with speed. Like, it's the same type of dude. Like, just the cuts and the power. Like, you can't take this guy down. This guy was unbelievable. The only time all season that he's gotten tackled on the first try was this game that J.J. Watt just blew right through the line, and he just squared hit him as soon as he got the ball from Eli Manning. So man, Saquon Barkley is impressive, man. I love that guy. Freeman from Denver, we don't know what to expect. They're kind of splitting touches there, going with the hot hand, so he can either blow up, he might not. So that's a question. And Andrew Luck, man, I know you were kind of weird on him. I'd hang on to him because I'm an Andrew Luck guy. I can't give up on him just yet. And of course, you got Tyreek Hill, who is a monster fantasy. So I really like your team. If you look at Yahoo,
one of the names that you didn't mention, and it's one that concerned me. What's going on with Demaryius Thomas? I mean, that was my issue with basically all of my wide receivers. Most of them are in a different quarterback situation. Demaryius Thomas doesn't seem to have that chemistry with Keenum.
That's exactly it. That's what it's looking like. Keenum is feeling more comfortable with Emmanuel Sanders, and I understand that. because I don't know if you remember, Case Keenum came from Minnesota, and Emmanuel Sanders is a very similar wide receiver to Stephon Diggs, who they shared a lot of chemistry with. Demaryius Thomas is more of a bigger possession quarterback, which forces which forces a quarterback to put the ball in specific situations because he doesn't get that much separation, right? He's the type of guy that's going to get you the first down, move the chains if you put the ball in his chest. Case Keenum is not that type of quarterback. Case Keenum is the type of guy that he likes to go to the shifty guys, running the slants, running those out routes and shit like that. So that's why he feels more comfortable clearly with the route patterns that Emmanuel Sanders is running. So I don't think it's a hate on Demaryius Thomas itself. It's just the chemistry is not there yet. So, I mean, he could have a good game or two. I mean, he's had a couple already. I'm not going to discard that. But clearly, Sanders is his number one option.
I seem to keep outsmarting myself and starting other options instead of what's there. But that's the team I'm going with. You know, middle finger to the world. I got to get this win. It's about damn time. I'm playing against El Perro del Llano. Fucking team. Matt Stafford, he's starting to get some of his mojo back. He's
Yo, he
going to
didn't
play
even
against.
fix the name, man.
Whatever. You should actually just change it to El Perro del Llano. It's a lot better. Matt Stafford against Dallas. Dallas is an improved defense. Not so much so where Stafford wouldn't feast on them. Keenan Allen, after I talked him up last week, kind of laid an egg, but this is the game for him to get back up there against San Francisco. Not a defense that you're scared of. Major points coming Keenan Allen's way. Amari Cooper, tell me about Amari Cooper. I'm not watching Raiders games the way you are. What's going on there? Why isn't he getting the targets and the touches and the scores?
The first problem is Derek Carr. I already told you. I'm not liking how Derek Carr is playing at all, even though he has some stats that kind of back him up. He should have had like 4 picks last game. And the second thing is, dude, I think Amari Cooper is a rhythm wide receiver, and Derek Carr is not helping him get in rhythm right now. He had a couple of drops versus Miami that were kind of weird, kind of funky. He's just that type of receiver. He will catch the crazy things and drop the easy ones. Right now, inconsistent. That's all it is.
All right. Both Fournette and Morris are listed as questionable. Even when he's not questionable, Morris is a clear backup to Matt Breida. So I'm not really feeling him in your starting lineup. Depending on the situation in Philadelphia, Corey Clement might be a better option. That being said, I am taking this week. I cannot lose to an 0-3 team. My team goes 2-2 this week.
It's crazy. Yahoo has it 50-50, man, but I'm also going with Luck Dynasty, man. I got Luck Dynasty. I put that pick in.
You know, a lot of people like to say that the unofficial commentators are the kiss of death. I'm trying to think it's you.
All right. I don't care. Probably am.
Jerk. Stop picking my team. All right. So we're going to round this week up with the rivalry matchup that we've all been waiting for. The 1-2 Hold My Pocket is going up against the 2-1 Zeke Freaks. Both teams lost their last matchup, so they're both looking to get back in the win column. Tell me about Hold My Pocket.
There's no way this bitch-ass guy is going to beat my team, bro. Like, we've been over this over and over again. He thinks he got something on me. I'm going to prove it once and for all. I got a better record, and I'm going to beat him this week. There's no way I lose this week. Guarantee that shit. Write it in stone. Hold my pocket. Man, my pocket's right here, bro. You might want to be holding my own pocket right here, bro. You might want to hold my own pocket because I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Pocket right here. Pocket's ready to go, bro. Like, you come hold my pocket because I ain't holding nobody's pocket. And after I beat you, you better change that name, bro, because that's all it is. Ain't got nothing here. Deshaun Watson, I'm sorry. He hasn't been that great so far this year. I have hope for the kid. I like him. I think he will be good once you drop him.
Deshaun Watson is the number 20th ranked player in all of fantasy. Just want to say that. I mean, he's getting his fantasy points, even though his team is 0-3.
Yeah, but he hasn't been looking that great. I think he's been inconsistent. I don't care what the fantasy numbers say. I think that he will be great once he is dropped by Hold My Pocket.
Oh, okay. Mike Evans still riding some of that Fitzmagic.
Yeah, Mike Evans, you know something? He's playing in Chicago versus Khalil Mack. I don't care who's starting for the Tampa Bay Bucks, whether it's Fitzmagic or Jameis raping Uber Winston. None of those guys are going to be able to get the ball to Mike Evans with that Khalil Mack pass rush. Mike Evans ain't doing shit this year. Ask me about somebody else. Go ahead. Or this week, I'm sorry.
Does Josh Gordon make it on the field this week?
Josh Gordon, he might make it on the field, but if he does, he's only going to ball out if Hold My Pocket leaves it in the bench. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, what about that trade? So New England gives him a 5th-round pick, and if he doesn't play, 10 games, then Cleveland still has to give him a 7th-round pick. Well, you might not think anything about a 7th-round pick. Okay, whatever. Mm-hmm. But basically, you traded Josh Gordon and a 7th-round pick for a 5th-round pick. Are you telling me nobody offered anything better?
I don't know, man. I mean, the guy.
How long ago was this trade? Like 2 weeks? There still hasn't been like a controversy, a story come up that somebody offered something and Cleveland just decided not to trade. I don't understand how this happened.
Nah, clearly nobody offered anything better, man. That's the reality of it. Because I don't think the Browns are in a position to just give it to the Patriots. They're trying to get everything they get. Yeah, but the guy has bad. I mean, he's a problem. You know what I mean? But obviously, the Patriots took a fly on him. The only reason he was inactive is probably because he's still trying to grasp the playbook. Let's be real. You know what I mean? Tom Brady's not going to let him go in there. Bill Belichick's not going to let him go in there if he's going to be running the wrong routes. It's that simple. So it's probably a matter of time before he gets in there, man. But regardless, if Hold My Pocket is starting him, he ain't doing shit. So I don't care. What do you want to talk about? James Conner, man? James Conner ain't doing shit either, man. Le'Veon Bell is better. So what? Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Oh, shit!
I think that the offensive line in Pittsburgh is underrated. You know what? I'm actually gonna pick Zeke Freaks this week.
You better pick Zeke Freaks, motherfucker.
I don't have much to say other than the fact that you have Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes going up against Denver. He should dominate them easily. Emmanuel Sanders, we talked about him. He's looking like the primary option to Case Keenum. I still don't like Kenny Stills, but for as long as they're hot over in Miami, he's serviceable, at least in the early weeks. You don't seem to be affected by any of the bye weeks. Ezekiel is going to still ball out against Detroit. Detroit hasn't proven to me that they can play any sort of defense. It felt more like New England beat themselves with not scoring as much as they could. Oh, wait, I just have a proposed trade. Let me see if this is worth embarrassing Big Blue Legend Daryl's. All right.
Oh, that's so sad. And he's doing it while we're on air? Oh.
Okay, so he proposes to me that I give him Demaryius Thomas and Devontae Freeman for Chris Godwin and Dion Lewis. I think that's worth considering, actually. It doesn't sound too bad. Initially, I offered him Demaryius Thomas and Devontae Freeman for Jordan Howard and Chris Godwin.
Yeah, you guys figure that out on your own. Yo, Jake, do you smell that?
No, I don't. What is that?
Smells like shit. Hold My Pockets team smells like shit. Air freshening this shit up.
This guy.
Team smells like shit.
We got special effects and everything. Yeah, just on the strength of your star players, it should be enough for you to be able to overtake Hold My Pocket. So I'm going to take Zeke Freaks this week. I think it's obvious you're taking Zeke Freaks this week as well. Did we pick differently in any week? I mean,
I think we did. We had a couple of conversations earlier.
Okay. Well, for the most part, we picked the same. So we're not going to have much separation in terms.
I don't care. I'm winning.
Yeah, you are. It's going to come down to So Loyal versus Blessum. If So Loyal wins, I get that point back and we'll be tied. But we pick the same teams every week. It looks like some of these matches are pretty clear cut. All right. So what's going on, man? That's it for the matchups. Tell me what's happening this weekend.
With what? What do you mean? What's happening this weekend in football? I mean, I think we pretty much talked about almost for an entire hour about what's happening this weekend in football.
Not in football, stupid. Outside of the realm of football, what's going on in life of Paki?
I think you're gonna be over here. Aren't you gonna be over here in Philly this weekend? Yes.
Unofficial commentators will be together in the Philadelphia.
Yo, we gotta do some. Yo, Jay, we gotta start hanging out more and recording some shit outdoors because I was just looking through the unofficial commentators page and that video that we did about Tortanesa, which wasn't even that great of a video, has 1,300 views.
Talk about it was amazing.
No, I mean the way that it was edited. Like we've gotten way better at all this shit, and we still got 1,300 views. Like, yo, we gotta do some shit, some cool shit down here in Philly. When you come here, record that shit, make it happen.
Yeah, well, I'm going to your yard, so have something waiting for me. Yeah, that's going to be it. Unofficial commentators are going to be in the same room at the same time somewhere in Philly. If you listen to the program, if you watch us on YouTube and you see us out in the street, feel free to come up and say hi. That's going to be it for week 4. Week 4 reviews and previews of the unofficial commentators of the League of Haters and of the upcoming bye weeks. It was a pleasure, man, sharing this time with you again and with everyone in the unofficial commentators universe. And I will see all of you guys again next week, if not sooner. We might record some stuff, like Paki said, live, just hanging out and doing some unofficial commentator stuff.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Peace.